So I've got my day two Met detective assessment day lined up for the start of October.
Hmm.
Um, just I don't have any specific questions, but just wanted to jump on here, see if anyone's got any questions. I don't know. I just seeing how best to prepare for it. I've watched all kind of your videos and tried to get kind of an understanding about all the different kind of sections of it. I've been on holiday for the last week, so my mind's kind of been away from it, but just any kind of advice that you can give for it,
All right.
anything.
Yeah, no problem. The Met bolt-on, I think that's probably the hardest detective assessment process out there. I think it's probably the hardest assessment process, full stop, out there in the recruitment process. So, yeah, it's a tough day. And it's not, I say day because it is. It's like 5 or 6 hours long. Yeah, I'll give you some top tips around that, Gemma. Um, so, tell me, what's your understanding of what the bolt-on involves?
So you've got the Met Police values kind of interview, the briefing, the intro and the kind of role play exercise.
All right. What's your understanding of what the written and the briefing involves?
So the written is you get given, I think, the scene, and you've got to give kind of your no, not recommendations, like your priorities, what you're going to do, who you're going to kind of report to, and what you're going to do about that case. And then the briefing is you've got to report to a sergeant about I find they overlap to me. They sound similar, and obviously I've not really picked up on it in the last week. So
Right.
they merge into one to me. So
Okay.
maybe understanding of the difference between the two of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've got like a bazillion tips and bits of guidance. Most of it is actually reserved for our academy members, but I'll give you, I'll give you some snippets here that are going to help you. So there is a big difference between the written and the briefing. The written is where they're going to give you multiple different cases and incidents to deal with, and the not one of our clients has ever succeeded in completing all of it. All right, so it's designed to overwhelm you. This is a common tactic used by the police in assessments. I know that because I've been through the sergeant's assessment, the inspector's assessment, and assessment to become all the different roles I've been in. And a common tactic is to give you a written exercise with all sorts of in-tray things, call it an in-tray exercise, and it's designed to overwhelm you. It's designed to be like your really toughest day. And although they say you don't need to have any knowledge of policing, that quite frankly is a big lie, because some of the cases they're going to give you are actually quite difficult, complex cases to do with vulnerability. And some of them will be internet connecting as well. So you'll need to spot where they connect with each other and wrap them up into dealing with them as a bundle. So that's a challenge. The idea behind the written is that you need to come up with how you're going to prioritize all your tasks for the day. I'd like you to imagine that you've not got an 8 hour day, you've got a 48-hour day, because quite frankly, everything that's in there would just overwhelm you. One quarter of it would overwhelm you in reality. And actually, some of the incidents they're going to give you, you just pick up one of them and that would take you all day and perhaps 2 days to deal with. They're that complex. So pretend you've got a 48-hour day. So it's not realistic in that respect. You've got to prioritize what you're going to do, and you've got to work out your rationale for that and also what steps you're going to take. So what you're going to do to enforce it, what you're going to do to prevent it from happening again, what are you going to do to advocate for the individuals involved. How to prioritize it. We use something called the Eisenhower matrix, which is a really good way of prioritizing. It was President Eisenhower who said that things that are important are seldom urgent and things that are urgent are seldom important. What he was saying was that everything can't be important and urgent. So we used 4 boxes like that. So imagine this, 4 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the first box, you've got urgent and important. These are the things that need dealing with now by you. In the next box, we've got urgent, but not important, as in it's urgent, it needs dealing with today, but it's not important, as in you can delegate it. And the next box up there is important, but not urgent. So you need to do it, but you can leave it until tomorrow. Tomorrow, though, it becomes urgent and important. And then the fourth box is not important and not urgent. It's just nothing to do with you. Get rid of it. Now, it's that latter one that they may throw you, because a common trick in entry exercises is to give you something that's not important and not urgent, as in it's just not your role. Why is it in your entry? But it doesn't mean to say it's not important and it's not urgent to someone else. So Gemma, if one of those items on the written exercise was something about a vulnerable person suffering antisocial behaviour, before I'd had this conversation with you now, what route would you probably take to dealing with a vulnerable person who's suffering antisocial behaviour?
I probably would have dealt with it. Probably myself.
Yeah,
Uh,
wrong.
yeah.
Because why is that on the detective's desk?
Mm.
It's got nothing to do with the detective. So it's not important and it's not urgent to you, but once it's gone to a PCSO via the neighbourhood sergeant, neighbourhood skipper, as they call him in the Met, by the skipper in charge of the neighbourhood team, then for that PCSO, it's urgent and important. But there's a difference between handing it over to them in its entirety and delegating it to the PCSO. So if you thought, no, it's not a job for me, I'll delegate it to a PCSO, still wrong, because that means the PCSO is going to report back to you, which means the incident is still, you're still the officer in the case, and there's no way you should be the officer in the case for that. So there you go, there's a little snippet, a little tipette for you for the written. The difference between the written and the briefing is that the briefing is one incident that they're going to give you, one, and they want a 10-minute briefing off you where you're going to talk about your plan of action to deal with this serious incident. And again, you know, they say you don't need to have any knowledge of policing, but this is a serious assault that's taken place with multiple lines of inquiry in respect of victims, evidence, location, suspects, intelligence sources. There's a lot going on. And the way we approach that is by using a model that's used by the Joint Emergency Services. I think it's called the Joint Emergency Services Interoperability Protocol. So that when you're doing briefings in front of all emergency services, so if you're doing a briefing for an incident that involved paramedics, fire service, police, Coast Guard, they would all be used to this format of doing a briefing. And it's called, it's from Jessup. Jessup is actually just down the road from where I live in North Yorkshire, in York. And I've been there as well. It's an amazing place. And the work they do is amazing as well. And that's where years ago I picked up, yeah, I really like this II March. And they use the II March model, which stands for information and intelligence. And then the second I is for your intention. And then we move into the method you're going to utilize to actually investigate this matter. Administration. So who's going to be in charge? Who reports to who and how? II March. Risk assessment. For you, officers involved and members of the public, communications, how is everyone going to communicate with each other, and health and safety and stroke human rights. And that the biggest part of it is going to be in your information, intelligence, and method. That's 7 minutes of your 10 minutes. Then after that, Gemma, what they don't tell you is they're going to have a secret interview with you. So you need to be ready, Gemma, for them just saying, thank you very much, Ms. Forte. So that's a lot of resources. How on earth can you justify so many resources for this incident? They might tap the pen like that, you know, just like. Or they may say, are you sure that's what you would do? So what you said is that you're going to do X, Y, and Z. Really? Would you really do that? Then they might say, so actually you're quite correct about the potential offender. Let me just tell you about that potential offender's background. What are your feelings towards them now? So they're going to have a really good go at you after. That's the secret interview they don't tell you about. So there you go, Gemma.
Thank
How are
you.
you feeling? How are you feeling about your bolt-on now?
Don't know. I need to just get back into it and just do more work and practice for it. But yeah. I've had some friends who have done it and they said you feel awful when you leave it, but it doesn't go too badly as they've all got in, but they said it's quite a rough day. But yeah.
It's a rough day. You know, we've got a good success rate with that. Probably about 90% of everyone we've put through our academy for that has passed. First time, but it's tough. Raj is our resident expert there, Raj Kohli. He's a retired chief superintendent from the Met Police, and he's awesome. Except for his dad jokes. Just got to watch out for his dad jokes. His dad jokes are terrible. All right, Gemma, hopefully helpful.